In this video, we're breaking down something you probably didn't know about, but you should: your breath. It's the secret weapon for better running, better recovery, and maybe even a better life. But first, let's look at it in a way you've never seen or smelled before.
Breath. Underrated. No one ever says, "Hey, thank you, breath, today." Not until it's gone. Gone on a hill, a sprint, or that final, cruel, last quarter mile when your legs turn absolute enemy. And isn't it funny? I mean, I go the whole day forgetting it's even there. Just another invisible service like Wi-Fi. Or the plumber, the unsung hero who only shows up when the floodwaters are knee-high and the smell is unforgivable. Breath.
All right, enough with the metaphors. Let's talk science, training tips, and how this all translates to you running better. Starting right now with pro triathlon and running coach Mike Trees, aka Run.Energy, who has almost 500,000 followers on Instagram. Let's get into it.
So I'm going to do a little test now. All these people that say, yeah, you've got to breathe through your nose the whole time. Just take one big breath, empty your lungs and take one big breath in through your nose and see how long it takes to fill your lungs up. Ready, go.
That was pretty fast.
Okay, now breathe out. It is a few seconds. Yeah. Now take one big breath through your mouth. The difference for me is like, I'll go through my nose, like, it's a few seconds. Through my mouth, it's instantaneous.
Oh, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So I'm getting that oxygen so much quicker. So I can actually do so much more breathing. So long as my heart and lungs are efficient enough to process the oxygen in the lungs, I can get that oxygen around into the muscles much more efficiently than I can through the nose.
The sports medicine teacher was like, try to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. This doesn't work if you're sprinting or at the end of races or you're doing hard workouts. It is in through mouth, out through mouth is best. But when you're running easy, I try to train myself to breathe in through nose and then out through mouth. And I also try to sync it with my steps. So 3 steps in, 2 steps out. This all depends on so many factors: how fast you run, what you like naturally doing, but try to get some sort of a rhythm. Different paces will mean different types of breathing, as I said before. Stay relaxed. If you're gasping, slow down and reset. Why it matters: if your breathing is all over the place, your energy is too. Nail this and running feels way easier, I promise.
When should you not use nose breathing? And there's a warning that I think, and I'll kind of just lead in, and this is your words that I'm taking. You said, I believe it to be very dangerous to attempt a hard run breathing through the nose because of lack of oxygen supplied to the muscles and brains and may cause you to pass out. So basically, if you're going to try nose breathing because you haven't been doing nose breathing, I was breathing in and out through my mouth thinking I was breathing through my nose, and it wasn't until I actually was like at the end of the workout, I'm like, and then I went, oh, I'm breathing through my fucking mouth. You know, I was just like, oh, this makes sense. Like your body automatically goes, where's the most amount of oxygen? And it's going to go to the least amount of resistance and the easiest place to get the oxygen.
Yeah, I think that people who argue this and breathe through their noses are just not running quick enough to go out of an aerobic pace, so that they're running at a much slower pace where their oxygen demands are much less. So they're able to do this. But as soon as you get to threshold, you need more oxygen into the lungs. I believe you need to breathe through the mouth. And I'm happy for some sports scientists to come and interject and to show me different science on this.
Future Darren here, and I won't do that thing. You know the thing where people go, hey, you should subscribe, rate, share, give a thumbs up, rah, rah, rah. Now, while I'd love for you to do that anyways, please go ahead and do it. The next steps will be for you to transform your running life with our free 1% Better Runner 30-day base training habits plan and newsletter. Unlike other running plans and newsletters, we do not do motivational quick fixes and hacks. Instead, we focus on long-term success that lasts from 30 days to 30 years and more. It's not just a training plan, but a mental shift. Think of it as your personal running therapist. Sign up for free at either dlatecreates.com/news, web search 1% Better Runner newsletter, or get the link in the show notes or video description below. All value, no fluff, cancel anytime. Let's get back into it.
I didn't think it would be a very popular post, but I put it on my Instagram page, and it's one of the most popular things that we had comments on. And I was actually amazed at how many people breathe through their nose when they run. I've never done it. I mean, I have actually gone out and gone little runs and just breathe through my nose just to check my pace and things. But generally, I decided, and I've read other research around the subject, that the nostrils just aren't big enough to get enough air in through your nose. And at a very low, easy, slow pace, yes, you can get enough oxygen in. And so breathing through your nose might be a useful tool to make sure you don't go too fast. But if you're training hard, you're not going to get enough air in the lungs breathing through your nose. So that's my view. Now, if we go back a little bit further, breathing through the nose has benefit. I'm not against it, by the way. Although I say I haven't done it. And I know that Kipchoge and quite a few Kenyans these days sort of practice breathing through the nose. But remember, they can probably get away with 2 breaths every 3 minutes. I mean, they on an easy run, they're not using a lot of oxygen.
There was a study. Sorry, let me go back to the quick story on the late 90s sports science class. And it was something I was interested in, majoring in at university, college. Ended up not going that route. Don't know why I didn't, because now I'm like, man, that would have been fun. But it was late 90s, early 2000s technology. We were a bit far behind. But I just remember the sports science teacher in high school saying, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth is your best way to breathe. And that wasn't for any specific way or type of training. It wasn't like, oh, this is best for endurance distance running, or this is best for sprinting, or this is best for basketball. So I took that as the gospel, and like I did with everything that this sports scientist teacher told me, and I implemented that up until basically I read that article that you wrote on Instagram. And funny enough, I then realized, though, the minute I start going hard, I can't do in through my nose, out through my mouth.
People did put some good comments on my post I hadn't thought about. So in the desert in the Middle East, they're saying, look, we get so much dust and stuff in the atmosphere that breathing through my mouth, I just get all this dust into my lungs. Whereas through my nose, the hair and the follicles in your nose actually, filter out. That's what the nose is for. That's why we generally breathe through the nose normally when we're walking, is the nose will filter out all the dust and all the crap so that it gets caught up in mucus, and then you sneeze it out into the hanky, or you snot it out, whatever. But if you're breathing through the mouth, it's going to go unfiltered straight to the lungs. So I can see why in certain places people might want to breathe through the nose, but then I would say, should you be running in that weather? If you have no other choice, that's one thing. But also, you've got to keep the pace down if there's a lot of dust in the air. And other people say they get a really dry mouth if they breathe through the mouth. And it's like, well, yeah, I get a really dry mouth. So when I'm running, I found that really hard to argue with, because they said, oh, I just get a dry mouth. I can't breathe through my mouth because my mouth goes dry. But if you want to run quicker, I would argue you have to breathe through the mouth and accept that on hot, dry days, you're going to get a dry mouth, and it's just not a nice sensation, and just put up with it. Or you say, I'll breathe through my nose, but I'll go slower. So you have to make a choice. You can't have both. You can't suddenly say, yes, I'm going to breathe through my nose and I want to go quicker. It's one or the other.
If you want to find out more about what we talked about in this last episode that you just listened to or watched, go to this next video right here.